Peg had pulled a box of fancy chocolates from her bag. After offering it around, she launched into her own argument. For me, I guess they're a guilty pleasure, a comfort read. But the more I think about it, why should I feel guilty? What's wrong with wanting to read a story that's going to come out all right in the end? Some of the more modern romance novels are very ambitious, and even classics like Barbara Cartland and Georgette Heyer often featured women who had to make their way in a world that wasn't very receptive to female independence. One of the things I dislike is the reliance on misunderstandings, Meg countered. When 5 minutes discussion would clear up the identity of the young woman our heroine saw with her true love, why not talk? In historical romances, Peg shot back, social constraints often meant that sort of discussion was nearly impossible to have. Tag waved a hand. Ladies, please, how about we actually look at a sample text or two? Remember, I'm not much of a romance reader, and I lack Meg's general background. Great! Peg pulled out a battered paperback. This one is certain to hit all of Meg's buttons, but I loved it. Barbara Cartland, The Irresistible Buck. Wait, I'll find a good part. A moment later, Peg handed the book to Teg. Start with the second paragraph on the right-hand page. Teg nodded. Years of teaching meant that cold readings didn't hold any horror for her, but what came out of her mouth had nothing to do with Regency rogues or sweet but sassy debutantes. Curing one ill who is not sick, finding the victim of a cruel trick, easing an ache that cuts to the quick. All of this and more you will find after you pass through the doorways of the Library of the Sapphire Wind. Teg had hardly stopped speaking when the cluttered, book-lined room seemed to tilt sideways. Each woman grabbed hold of the arms of her chair. Peg shrieked, or Teg thought she shrieked. Peg's mouth had opened in a wide O, and Peg had been known to shriek, but the sound, if there was sound, was curiously muffled. "Earthquake?" Teg exclaimed, trying to shove back her chair from the table. "We'd better get out of—" She never finished the sentence. Between of and here, the room stopped tilting, and the three women were somewhere else. Where, they didn't know, but they knew with absolute certainty that this wasn't the familiar meeting room at Pagerian Books.